Welcome back, everybody. Today I wanted to show you how to quickly generate a 3D asset for a game engine. I'm going to make something similar to this guy here, Alien Mask. I'm just going to show you the base shape here, which was actually created with just a Ring 3D in ZBrush, or a Torus, whatever you want to call it. Won't go into the bits and pieces like the pipes and all that. That's just some Z modeling and then some Dynameshing up here to create this guy here. I think I ended up just pushing and pulling a sphere in its place and then cut out part of it. So, but really I'm just going to show you how to quickly design this cool mask shape here, show you how I did it, all the little tricks that I'm experimenting with nowadays. And so without further ado, let's go over to ZBrush and let's start playing. First, before we do that, I want you to go download something new here. If you go to my Gumroad page, I've got a new Greeble sample pack. It's got 5 texture sets in it. It's free to download. There's the page itself here, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different texture sets. Each one has a depth, curvature, normal, diffuse, AO, material ID, and then a rendered shaded version. And they're free to use. You just can't redistribute it or sell them. Okay, that's all I ask. But you can add it to your personal projects and stuff like that. That's not a problem. Like I said, it's free. So just type in 0, name a fair price, 0, or you can throw a little money in there. That's fine. Doesn't bother me either way. Always appreciate you guys' support. Helps me continue to be inspired to do more for you. If you want to make your own Greebles, you need to head over to the Greeble Pack Pro. I used the Greeble generator in there, and that's how I generated the Greebles in the sample pack. I just used the generator and I came up with them. So go ahead, download that, and then I'll meet you over in ZBrush, okay? So here we are in ZBrush here. Like I said, we're just going to work on that base shape of the mask. And like I said, all I used was a Ring 3D. So we load up the standard one here. It's not been initialized yet, or it's been initialized, but it hasn't been made into a polymesh yet. I want to tweak some of the settings here. Just want to add a little more geometry to it. Maybe do 48. And we'll add like maybe 84. I don't know. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to show you little tricks on how to get it over into Substance Painter and rendering engines. We're going to make a non-deformable object, so we don't need to worry about a quad base mesh, okay? So yeah, I just went with 48 by 84. Looks good to me. Polygons are pretty much square. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not too worried about the base topology really. So go ahead and make Polymesh 3D. Alright, so now we got it. And let's go ahead and load up one of those textures here so we can see what this is going to look like. The reason I like to use these because they got a real nice UV map to them. It maps perfectly squared all the way around, so any tileable texture comes out beautifully on here. So let's load up. Let's go into, I'm going to go to the sample pack, and here's how it sits, except for these guys here. It's got 1 through 5. Each one has a different type of texture. I'm going to run with number 4, and you can see all the different ones here. Let me blow them up a little bit, and you can see all the different textures you get out of it. The only thing I'm going to worry about today is the depth, and then scroll down to the shaded. And for right now, we're just going to do the shaded. As you can see, it's tiled at a 45-degree angle, which you can do in the generator pretty easily. Go ahead, click shaded so we can see what we're looking at here. Load him up here, and if you type X on your keyboard, that'll give us the symmetry, so we can kind of figure out where this guy is lying here. So this side on the left here, we're going to end up mirroring onto the right. I'm going to turn symmetry off there. So basically everything on this side will be mirrored over on this side. If we wanted, we could rotate him just a little bit. Make sure you hold down your shift there so you're constraining it. So I like that little pattern that goes around there. Okay, go back to draw. Let's do a mirror and weld. There we go. Now we got this cool symmetrical tile here. So yeah, it's gonna be really nice. We'll turn anti-least on. And what I want to do real quick, a little trick that I kind of learned today, I was just messing around with it. Go to your UV master in your Z plugins and use existing UV seams. Click that and then click flatten. Okay, so now we can see how our texture stands as is, okay? Now, don't mess with like this little guy here, this little patch here. We're going to mess with this one here. We're going to use this a little like a UV editor, which is, it's like a bare bones UV editor right here. So I'm going to take like this patch here, click on move. I'm going to drag from here, okay, and then mask this part here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch that out. Now granted, it's stretching the texture, but when we unflatten it, it'll reapply the texture with that new UV layout. So you'll see here, and we'll go off draw, clear the mask, and then unflatten. And as we can see, we've got a little more tiled effect with our texture, which is kind of cool. If you don't like how it sits like this, you can go into your UV map and you can go to, I think, not the create, but the adjust. And don't do a flip U or a flip V because you'll get some artifacts in there. Let me show you. Flip U. Let's see. Huh. Didn't actually produce it this time. Usually it'll produce an artifact. Let me do flip V and see if it, well, it doesn't want to do it. Okay. Well, that's cool. Sometimes you'll get some weird artifacts in there. Or you can do a switch U, switch V, and that will basically kind of inverse the U and V coordinates. So you can get a couple different texture options there. So I'm going to Control Z back, kind of like that right there. Should make a very interesting pattern. So go ahead and now go to your texture map. Just turn them off. Don't need to leave the texture in place. Go to your geometry, dynamic, and then just crank him all the way up. So he'll end up making a 4.227 million quad polygon when it renders. And now go to surface. And where's the surface? There you are. And click on noise. We're going to make it UV. Okay, you don't see anything yet, so let's go ahead and click on our alpha. Now click on our depth. And now flip H. A lot of you know this little trick already. I've shown it off quite a bit. And then reverse. And then make sure we take down basic noise all the way off here. Come on. It's a little slow in the uptake today. There it goes. And we'll put him at 0.3 on the strength, and we'll see how he turns out here. Alright, so let's go ahead and click OK. And let's go ahead and just do a BPR. Not too bad. Go to your subtool. Turn on your little brush. So this way all the color information follows over. Interesting. Alright, so if we're not happy with that, let's play with our texture a little bit. Let's switch the U and the V. And we'll see how this one turns out. Not as much of love on that one there, so we'll just switch it back. It's all a matter of trial and error. We can actually go to surface, and we can do something else with our texture. Put texture map on. We need to turn geometry, turn the dynamic off for now. Now we will flatten again. As we can see, it's all stretched out now. This time, let's just do a simple rotation. Click that little, there it goes, now it's at the center again. Now rotate him 90 degrees. Click back on draw, unflatten. Now we got a totally different type of texture because we rotated the UV map 90 degrees. So let's see what happens. I want to get some more of those white there because those go out the furthest. So let's go ahead and try switch U and V. Okay. Now let's go ahead and turn texture map off. Like I told you in previous ones, texture map and surface noise don't work that well together at the same time. So we just have to do it in steps. So let's see how this looks. I forgot to turn on dynamic there, so it's going to be a pretty rough displacement there. So just turn dynamic back on. Scale in here to see what we're doing. Alright, I'm going to call that okie dokie for us, okay? So what I want to do real quick, turn dynamic off, and let's turn surface noise off for the moment. I want to turn on polyfill. And I want to divide our, let's turn X on. I want to divide up our model a little bit here. So let's go to the side here. So we're just selecting just half the model. Alright. If you go under polygroups, just hit group visible. Okay. And now let's divide him in half again. That'll work. Group visible. Reveal the whole thing. Now we just want to do that same trick with him. Group visible. There we go. Now we got 4 different quadrants here. This is going to come in handy shortly when we want to remap everything. Okay. So now that that's done, we can turn polyfill off, and we can turn our surface noise back on. Noise. And what we want to do now, we want to apply our displacement. So turn dynamic on and click apply. Brought it up to 4.2 million. Divide again. Alright, now we're at 16 million here. Make sure you guys got enough RAM going in your system. I am using the 64-bit. So right now I have like 6 gigs left to me out of 16. So that's not as good as I would like. So if you go into your delete history, your edit, and then just delete undo history, and that'll eventually give you a little more memory to play with. Sometimes it's a dramatic improvement, sometimes not so much. So now let's go ahead, and with the surface, we're going to go ahead and click apply to mesh, and now we should get a nice clean. Give it a minute or so to percolate. And as you can see, it's nice and clean. Of course, you guys are probably saying, well, how in the tar did you get it that weird shape? Well, I kind of... So let me go back to before we applied all our... yeah, let's see. And I shouldn't have deleted the surface noise. I should have waited. But basically, we should have moved everything around prior to applying the dynamic subdivision. That would have given us that weird shape. So we can actually do it right now, but we're manipulating 16 million poly, so let me drop him all the way down. There we go. This will still work. Oops. We want move. Let's turn X on. Okay, it's on. Scale out. So we do some fun manipulations here real quick. Kind of did it a little backwards from how I did it previously. But I just did some pushing and pulling all around till I got a cool shape I was working with there. Don't ask me what I'm making. Was trying to do a mask shape. It's not turning out that way. But it could be a cool little alien artifact or something. I don't know. It's whatever you want. But see, now all that texture is following us around, which is cool. Let me inflate here. And don't forget, you can always smooth things back into shape there. Oop. Take it off a flate. Smooth them out, get them away from the itself. Alright, I'm not going to fiddle with him too much here, guys. So let's crank him up here. Alright, so now we got the high poly here. We can do a BPR real quick just to see how he's going to look. Alright, so drop him back down to 1. Let's see if we can mess with all those shapes that are already in there. Kind of go with the flow. Push those panels to where we want them. Smooth out this back end here. It's getting way too flat. Inflate. Smooth out a little bit. Move back in play here. Yeah, that mask was actually a happy accident when I did it. It actually started out to be in a ship, and then it turned into something totally different. Saw a mask shape in there, so I kind of went with it that way. Here, I really couldn't tell you what the heck we're making. So let's crank it up. Hit BPR just to see how it's going to look before we apply it. It's kind of cool. It's not bad. Alright, so let's go down here, get down. Yes, very weird shape we're making here. Well, you can make some really cool organic biomechanical type designs this way as well. Raise them up. I'm desperately trying to find a shape for you guys. I don't know if it's really working. But I know right now I have got him laying flat, so I need to fix that real quick. Okay, a little computer hiccup there. I don't know what happened there. Oh, I see what's going on. Let me delete undo history. Yeah. There we go, we got some memory back. Yay! Okay. That's why it's always best to do all that deformment before you apply all your subdivisions. So let's zoom out here, and we're going to rotate this bad boy real fast. Alright, cool. Alright, well, we still got some memory playing here. Let's do a little more shaping. Just play with some of these things. Okay, I'm not going to play anymore, guys. Crank him up, and we're just going to go ahead and apply the mesh in our surface noise and be happy we got. Give it a second here, and there we go. Everybody's happy. Let me go ahead and delete undo. Just get some memory back for us, because we're losing it slowly but surely on my PC. It's an older rig, so. Okay, so we got our cool looking little shape here. So now how do we don't really want to UV it this way, the original way that it was set up. The original way it was like a cylindrical map. We don't want that anymore. So how do we fix it? Drop him down back to the original 1D. If you turn on your polyframe, look at your polyfill. We've now got those 4 unique quadrants to UV map from. So if you go to UV master, turn off existence seams, you can turn off symmetry, click on polygroups and unwrap. There it goes. Now it made 4 UV islands, and we can do a flatten. Oh, okay, it doesn't like it with any subdivisions, so if you just go to UV map and click morph UV, and there you go, he's all mapped out. Morph him back, turn off polyfill, alright, everything's updated. He now has new UV mapping. Perfect. So now we can start exporting our model out. So let's go ahead and do a decimation here. Open up Decimation Master. Keep UVs. Make sure you keep those UVs. First, I want to... right now, it's only using polypaint. So what I want to do is polypaint... actually, texture map. We're not using him anymore. We want to create new from polypaint. Give it a second there. Let's go ahead real quick. Go to UV map. Bring them up to 4096. Let's do that again. Texture map, new from polypaint. There we go. Now we got a 4K map now of our diffuse. Turn on anti-aliasing. And now let's go back to your decimation and go ahead and real quick, I'm going to delete some more history here. There we go. And I'm going to pre-process current. I'm going to pause this while it does this, and then I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, Everything's been pre-processed with the UVs on, and I want to decimate this bad boy down to, I don't know, I'm probably gonna do let's try 8,000 polys here, because I'm working on the low res base mesh here. That's what I'm looking at. As I can see, it's got pretty good distribution, looks pretty good, held onto the map pretty well. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to export him out. Come on. There it goes. And I'm just going to call him just test. And 8K. Alright. Now let's go ahead and let's try 500,000 polys, so 500K, and decimate current. Turn the polyfill off. It looks good. That's going to be good high-res mesh there. I'm going to go ahead and clone him off. Where's he at here? Is this him? Yeah, this is him. Alright. So he doesn't have any undo history there getting in my way. Alright, so let's go ahead. Before we do anything, we can go ahead and get rid of the texture. We don't need the texture anymore. That was just meant for the low poly. What we want to do now is break up this mesh a little bit. And he still seems to be pretty dense. Let me go back to the other one here. Let's go ahead and see what 400,000 looks like. Oh, you bugger. Alright. Alright, let's just go back to the clone one here. Probably wanted a little lower density here, but I'm going to work with this. So here's another trick that I've learned how to do, kind of taught myself how to do it. Go ahead and go in there and go group by normals. This is going to take a minute to compute. Then it will come up with a warning saying that there's more than 1,000 polygroups it just generated. And 1,000 is the limit to ZBrush when it comes to group by normals as well as subtools. So we'll give it a second here to compute this, and hopefully it will, there it goes. Alright, so it didn't do the greatest job for us there. It didn't separate it enough for me. So, and it says it did over 1,000, but I don't see how it did that. So what I'm going to do is lower the max angle to 25. Usually on the curvier objects, it usually works a little better, 25. At least it has for me. And there it is with that warning again. Ah, there we go. That's much better. That's what I was looking for. Go ahead and do a mirror and weld on the X, so it's in your geometry, modify, and mirror and weld. There we go. So this way that polygroup is like that one over there, and so on. And go ahead back into your polygroups real quick. We're going to merge stray groups, and then merge similar. I'm going to do another mirror and weld again just to be on the safe side. And now go to your subtool, and we're going to split this bad boy up. Group split. It says it's undoable. Click OK. And it's going to make up 157 subtools. So it's 157 different polygroups that it just made. So now go to merge, merge visible. Now it created a clone of the merged visible one. Here it is here. And let me turn the lines off. And then there is our ID for our nice little greeble Thingamahoosit. Whatchamacallit. Thingamajig. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and export. And test. Hi. Save it. Alrighty. So we are done inside ZBrush, so I'm going to meet you over in Substance Painter, okay? Alright, we are back in Substance Painter. We are going to load up our asset here, do new, and I'm going to make a 2048 document. We're going to select our mesh, and put them in here. Okay, so test 8K. Click, and we want to add anchor. Where is that? There he is. Click OK. We're going to add that one texture that was generated. Okay, as you can see, he's a little globby and blobby and doesn't look all that appealing. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and bake our textures in. So we're going to create a 4096. We're going to load in our high poly, test high, and turn off thickness. Thickness is only good for subsurface scattering, but we're not messing with that today. Click on ID, vertex color, change it to mesh ID. Click back on common. And I might change both of these to 0.05 instead. And max rear distance 0.05. You don't have to do this, just sometimes it makes sure you're capturing all the detail from the model. Now click bake. Give it a second. Normal will knock out pretty fast, and we'll see how good we're doing. And there we go. Yeah, the regular normal has already fixed everything for us. And then ambient occlusion usually takes a little longer. We're almost done. Alright, we are all done. That model's looking a whole lot better with the normals and AO baked in now. It's perfect. Bit of a seam issue here, it looks like. But once we add some textures to it, it should be just fine. So we can go ahead and start real quick. We can add a fill on this layer 1 here. Add a fill. And I just want color information. And click base color, and we just need to go find that one texture. There he is. And there we go. Just to kind of help get us started there. And now we're going to add to it here. Now let's start adding some of our smart materials here. Let's start with one I like to use. It's called T800 Metal, which you can get from the Substance Share website. It's free to sign up. I'm going to drag him on top here. Give it a second. Looking pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and add a mask with color selection so we can pick and choose where we want them. So I may end up putting him, and then we just click pick color where we want him. I may put him where the red is. Those white areas just aren't that appealing to me. I may end up making them the painted ones, I'm not sure. Let me clear that color selection and let me get a new color selection. Pick. We're going to pick some of these interior ones here. Alright, so let's add another material. Let's add, where is he at? It's one of my favorites, machinery, or machinery. This comes with Substance Painter, so you don't have to download that one. Okay, now we're going to add a color selection on them, just like the other ones, and now I'm going to start picking all my white ones here. My little white areas here. Just not feeling those. So you can hold on to some of that old texture map if you want, or you could just do like I'm doing, and I'm just filling it up. And I may just turn off layer 1 altogether. I'll just turn off. Whoop. What did I do? Oh, let me remove black mask. Clear mask. Remove mask. There we go. That'll work. We'll just get rid of all that old color information. We don't need it. It's just not blending in. So let's pick one more material here. And you can make up your own materials and do this. You don't have to use these. These are just ones that I like to use. Got that tire rubber. Same thing. Add a color selection there so we can pick and choose. So let's pick like this inner pink here. Wonder if I could do something up here. Not really. Wonder if I get the backside of this guy, maybe. Yeah. Not too bad. Quick and easy. You can obviously do a lot more work on this than I'm doing. We can add a quick grime layer to it. What I like to do is get my materials, go down to steel. Just gotta find it. There we go. Right here. I like this steel Parkursky or something like that. It's a weird name. Or you could do rust and wear. We'll do rust and wear. And pick a particle. And usually what I'll do is I'll do rain. And I will increase the size by hitting the right bracket. And then just add a little rain to it. And this is on top of everything else there. And you can see it rolling over everything. Added some grime in the crevices there. Always turns out real nice. You can even, if you wanted, you could just use a brush and go down to, I usually use like dirt 1. And you can increase the size a little bit. And you can just sit there and paint on the sucker if you wanted. Just to add some grime all over the place. That's the nice thing about this program. It's all non-destructive. As long as you're building it up with layers, it's got a ton of undo history. Lots of options with it. But in less than 40 minutes, we created this cool little object, you know, it almost looks like a chair. Weird looking space chair. I don't know. Or we can turn it around. This weird little ornament or something like that. Weird alien ornament. It can be whatever you want it to be. But yeah, like I said, it's quick and easy. Hope you found some of this stuff useful. And let me see what you're making out there and let me know. We'll see you in the next video.